Well, hi there, everybody. We're going to review real quick for this quiz. There's no graphs on it. There might be some number lines, but there's no like XY kind of graphs like a line or anything. There is a story problem like you see here. So we've got Kiki getting a job, trying to save up her money to buy a car. She's got $120 to start with, and she's going to put $20 in every single week. So what you're looking for, remember, is the per, whatever is per. That's going to be the slope. The other number is going to be the y-intercept. And so you use the same words when answering the questions. So write the equation. So our equation would be y equals, well, she started with 120, and she's going to add to it, right? It's getting bigger. She's putting in $20 per week. So there's your slope. The slope is 20, and it represents $20 per week. The y-intercept is the number without the letter, 120, and it represents $120, and I would, like I said, I would use the words up there, initial deposit. So now we're going to figure out how much Kiki has after 12 weeks. Well, remember, X is your weeks. If you want to use W, you don't have to use X. So we'd have 120 plus 20 times 12. You can use a calculator on this test. You don't have to worry about doing the arithmetic if you don't like that. And this works out to be $360. All right, so the next kind of question. It's a table form a linear pattern. So you're looking to see if the x's change consistently, and then of course if the y's change consistently. They don't match x to y necessarily, but x's to x's and then y's to y's. So I like to sort of figure out what's happening here, like from here to here. -5, we're getting smaller, so we went down 2 again. So then for the y's, -4 to -1, we're getting bigger. We went up 3, and then -1 to 2, we went up 3. So yeah, it's definitely consistent. So there is a linear pattern. So that is a yes, that's a linear pattern. And then the constant rate of change is going to be y over x. Move this over so you can see it. And so remember, that's y over x. So we had 3 over -2. On the quiz, there'll be blanks that you can fill in so that you can answer the questions a little bit better. Solving for y. What that means is get y all by itself. What that also means is don't touch the y until last. So the first thing we're going to do is, I moved that, sorry, let me erase it because now it doesn't make any sense. I can't erase it. We're going to move everything away from it. So we don't want to move this guy. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to subtract 2x. Now we say subtract 2x, but we're not actually doing any subtracting. At least not on both sides, right? That's gone, so that definitely subtracts. But on the right-hand side, you can't do anything with a -15 and a -2x. One has an x, one doesn't. So that's all you can do. So now, to get y by itself, we're going to divide each and every term by 3. I would do it individually so that when you write your answer, you get the right answer. So we're going to do this arithmetic. -15 divided by 3 is -5. This, of course, can't be, there's nothing that can be done to that. So that is 2/3 x, or 2x over 3. As soon as you get y by itself, you're all done. All right. Now we're just going to solve this inequality. We're not going to actually make a number line or anything. Remember, that's what we're solving for. So don't start there. Start with something else. So the only other thing we have is the 12. So 7x greater than 5 minus 12 is -7. Divide by the number next to the letter, x greater than -1. Now there's other things you can do with that, x is greater than -1, but they didn't ask us to, so we're not going to. All right, so absolute value. Remember, it takes 2 things to finish or solve an absolute value equation, inequality. It doesn't matter. Everything with absolute value takes 2 things. So you have what it looks like, 2x minus 10 equals 14. And then you have 2x minus 10 make that a negative over there. And then you're going to have to solve each equation. So I'm going to add 10 to both sides. So we get 2x, the 10s are gone. 14 plus 10 is 24. And then, of course, we'll divide by 2. And we get x equals 12. Now, the second problem feels very similar. The process is similar, but the numbers are different, so you get a different answer. Or add 10. And then we get 2x equals negative 4. And then we'll divide by 2. So we get x equals negative 2. Two different numbers. They don't have to be one positive, one negative, but you should get two different numbers. Now, for an inequality, again, it takes two things. First one is 3x plus 5 is greater than or equal to 20. Exactly the way you see it. The second one, 3x plus 5, flip the inequality over, change the sign. Just on the 20. All right, so here we go. Now we're going to subtract 5. And we get 3x is greater than or equal to 15. Divide by 3. And we get x greater than or equal to 5. In the second inequality, we'll subtract the 5. This gives you a different result. 3x less than or equal to negative 25, and then, of course, divide by the 3. So we get x is less than or equal to negative 25 thirds. And you can leave it like that. As you know, we've had lots of fractions. You can get a fraction. Doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't say to put it on a number line, just says to solve it, so we're good. You will have some questions that just have number lines like this one and the next couple. So it says to put it in interval notation. Well, interval notation means what would this mean if the number line wasn't here? How would you know what numbers they would be? And so it looks like it points forever in that direction. This is where negative infinity is. So negative infinity is the smaller number. The bigger number is the positive. Actually, it's a negative 2. Infinity or negative infinity isn't a real spot, so it gets a rounded bracket. The negative 2 is colored in or closed circle, so it gets a squared off bracket. Now, when you make your own number line, put the smaller number on the left. So negative 4, 2. Open circle on the negative 4, closed circle on the 2. You read it from the letter over. So numbers smaller, that's smaller than negative 4. Well, smaller goes this way. And this way says numbers bigger than positive 2 or equal to. So that goes that way. So again, smaller number on the left, larger number on the right. No line underneath them. So x is greater than 0, which is that way. And remember, you read it this way, x is smaller than 5. So what we want is the part that overlaps, which is in here. You don't need those yellow parts on the top. I was just showing you how to do the pieces. Also on the test is a problem that's incorrect. Despite what you might think, there's definitely going to be a mistake there. I'm not saying there's tons of mistakes, but there's going to be a mistake in the problem. The best way to find the mistake, before you do explain the student's mistake, I would redo the problem. So here is obviously the problem. So we have 2x minus 1 is less than 9. And then we would have 2x minus 1. Flip it, change the sign. Well, right there. Oops. Not trying to scribble it out, sorry. Right there is where I think the mistake is. So there we have a mistake, right? That should be a negative 9. I'm struggling with my pen here. Right there. That's not a negative 9. But let's keep going on our solving. So we're going to add 1. So we get 2x is less than 10. So that's good. That's good. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. We get x is less than 5. Okay, so that side's good. Over here, we're going to add 1. So we get 2x is greater than negative 8. Well, that's because the sign was wrong. And then divided by 2, we get x is greater than -4. So they really only made the one mistake. And the one mistake was they didn't change the sign on the 9. I'm going to call that in step 1. Should be 2x minus 1 is greater than -9, right there. And so the mistake can be as simple as that. Maybe they added 5 and they should have subtracted 5. Or maybe they divided by 3 and they shouldn't have done that. So you just look for the arithmetic mistakes or the sign mistakes.